Good day. The crossover fic can either A, be good, or B, be really, really cringy. When doing a crossover fic, you need to pick two universes that would logically fit together. Star Wars and Trek can sort of work if you have a wormhole or a warp drive malfunction, but something like Republic Commando and Digimon not only sounds cringy, but makes no sense at all. Today's fanfic is an example of a better-than-canon fic. Going Native is a Star Trek TNG and Battlestar Galactica reimagined fanfic. It takes place after the events of Battlestar Galactica Season 3 and has the Enterprise D finding the BSG and rendering aid. Turns out the 12 colonies of Cobol were actually located in the Beta Quadrant, and surprise! Felix Gaida was actually a marooned Federation officer that had to go native in the 12 colonies. The novel chronicles the issues inherent in helping the colonial fleet and the vast differences between Starfleet and the colonials. Felix is the main character of the story, and the Cylon's share of it is him coming to terms with breaking the Prime Directive. In short, during the events on New Caprica, and if you never saw BSG, Google it, Felix, when he thought all was lost, gave Baltar, the plans for warp drive and photon torpedoes. Felix considers this to be something unto a sin and spends the entire novel angsting about it. The TNG cast is represented well, and they don't come off as wide-eyed idealists, and they actually can understand what the colonials went through. Reginald Barclay actually gets to be suitably awesome and even impresses Kara Thrace herself. The colonials are also represented well, and they don't come off as violent reactionaries. Each side actually works together with one another to bring about a positive outcome. The main plot of the novel concerns Felix coming to terms with breaking the Prime Directive. The colonials also are trying to join the Federation, and Gaius Baltar is trying to expose Felix Gaida so that he can get out of jail. The novel interestingly makes Felix a sort of technomancer. In short, he is descended from a Starfleet officer who got intimate with Apollo from the TOS episode Who Mourns for Adonis. In the course of the story, we learn that Felix was helping Galactica get back to the Federation by controlling the Galactica's FTL jumps. When news breaks that Felix was a Starfleet officer and that he knew the location of Earth the entire time but did not tell anyone, people understandably get rather angry with him, and Kara Thrace even wants to kill him. Felix is an interesting character. Half of me wants to sympathize with him, as he was put in a bad position. He was stranded in a much more primitive spacefaring culture than the Federation, and he couldn't just divulge all he knew, because if he were ever captured by the Cylons, that would lead to the Federation having yet another cybernetic menace to contend with. On the other hand, once the colonials were reduced to less than 40,000 people, he really did need to have stepped up and tried to help a bit more. And he really should have told them not to settle on New Caprica. The writer does a good job of showing multiple viewpoints, and you come to see that the entire controversy is morally gray. One really epic moment is where Loxana Troy shows up to discuss the colonials' membership in the Federation. She is an absolute boss and takes no crap from any of the colonials and comes off as competent as you would expect from an experienced diplomat, something that the show never really demonstrated. The novel comes to a head when the Romulans take an interest in the Galactica fleet, and then the Cylons show up to make things even more complicated. This is one of my favorite fanfics of all time. The writing is professional quality, and the conclusion of the story is way better than canon, and is what I consider the proper conclusion to Battlestar Galactica. I am Generalots, and I am wishing you good Halo, the Imperial War, and good The Last Spartan, or whatever makes you happy. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and if you can, please consider supporting me on Patreon so that I can continue bringing you this awesome content.